Who's calling us home? And into the combat zone we roll. Buffalo combat zone. The war is ours to own. Bills Mafia rise under crimson skies. Defeats disdain. Victory, glory in the Buffalo combat zone. Buffalo combat zone. The war is ours to own. Bills Mafia rise under crimson skies. Defeats disdain. Victory's glory in the Buffalo combat zone.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
Hey folks, how we doing today? It is Victory Monday with the Buffalo Bills. We are here. We are not with Alex Cullen today. He was at the game and he is taking his 10-hour drive back. But it is me and Miley today. And if you can, right now, we already got a lot of people already joining 3 minutes in. If you can like and subscribe, if you have not yet, for the Buffalo Combat Zone, this is great. Miley, how you doing today? You were at the game as well.
Absolutely amazing. What a game.
Tell me about it.
Oh, my God. I mean, even before the game, I won a little bet on FanDuel. I'm up $70 yesterday, so that's cool.
There you go.
A lot of my fantasy teams had won, so that's also cool. But then all of that means nothing if the Bills don't win, and wow, what a game. Probably my second favorite Bills game I've ever been to, behind the perfect game against the Patriots. When it was 0 degrees out and we just went up and down and just scored. Oh, that one I don't think could ever be topped unless it's an AFC championship win. I think that's the only way I'd ever be able to, or if I ever went to a Super Bowl with the Bills in it. But that game was just absolutely electric. Josh Allen, I've been saying Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. I at this point, like, I call me biased. Allen, I'm putting Allen 1 now. I've been saying, like, Mahomes just always seems to get it done, plays his best in the playoffs. But I mean, it's not even Mahomes had a bad game. He played great with the situation he was dealt with. But what Allen did last night, 97th percentile of all time for EPA in a total game. The 4th most passing yards in a fourth quarter ever. And 2 of the top 9 on that list had got wins. Like everyone else, it was a lot of just garbage time, or maybe it was kind of a shootout, but they were losing by a little bit. Allen was actually able to turn that into a win. I will give the defense some credit. They stepped up in the fourth quarter. They had gotten, 1 stop all night and then got 3 straight stops, including a turnover. Shout out Ed Oliver, best game of his life. But I was thinking about it earlier. It's going to suck, though, because you know how when they do player of the week, they refuse to give both offense and defense to the same team. Which one do you give it to? I'm assuming you give it to Allen, but that means you're discrediting Ed Oliver, who just played his absolute ass off. Like the sack to force the field goal on the first drive. He blew up a run play, I think, on our first actual stop when we forced a punt. He had the fumble, but he was the only one making plays. Our defense outside of him was bad. I mean, 100%. There was I don't think you could. Dorian Strong looked good as a rookie. Yes, it said he recorded like 0 allowed receptions. I remember watching him get beat a couple times, but he looked promising. But no one really played good except for Ed Oliver, who just played absolutely dominant. And
Oh,
then right next to him was Daquan Jones. Off air, I don't call him Daquan Jones. I have a different name for him, but I'm going to keep it a little PG. He sucks. Cut him. I've been saying this since March. I will say it again until whenever he is cut or off this team. He sucks. That may have been the worst performance I've ever seen out of a professional football player in my life. And I did watch the Nathan Peterman 5-interception game. Every single play, it was he get blown 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. Derrick Henry runs right by.
We'll get into that all. We'll get into it all because there was a lot of. I mean, we let up 40 points. That can't go unnoticed for sure. Now, question for you because we'll roll back because I want to dial back a second. Is why was the Patriots playoff game better than last night's game in yours rule book? Because I get it. You could say that the Patriots were kind of squeaked in with Mac Jones. So their defense was good. And that's why the perfect rating, 7 drives, 7 touchdowns, was so crazy is because really the defense is what brought them in. So I understand your philosophy. But last night in that comeback, and especially in a comeback where we normally are on the wrong side of those comebacks. So why do you still pick Patriots over that game?
1, it was playoffs. 2, it was a division rival who had owned us for 2 decades. And this was really only year 2 of us coming into our own, where earlier in the year, we lost to them at home when Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times because our offense couldn't do anything because it was 50-mile-an-hour winds. And that was back when our run game sucked. So that being able to get revenge like that, yes, we beat them in New England, but at home, the cold weather being all bundled up, I thought made that cool. I thought that was an added element. And then the fact that it's the only perfect offensive game in NFL history. No team has ever gone 100% on scoring touchdowns. I don't even think we got to a 4th down that game. I'm pretty sure we didn't go 4th down the entire game and scored 7 straight touchdowns to win the game. Allen played so good that he threw a touchdown that dropped his passer rating.
All right, that's it. You got me. Okay, so let's start with maybe the offense. Let's go what went through because the defense will be a little bit longer because, we did let up 40 points while we scored 41 points. And we don't need to talk about Prater, 41-year-old man kicking field goals, my guy taking red eyes and getting it done. So I love that. But anything that you noticed in our offensive scheme that you saw stand out and who played well, if you want to just give a little bit and then I'll come back with it.
First, I do guys want to apologize for my voice. Since I was in the game, I was screaming my head off. I still haven't got my voice back completely. He can even see that. Yeah, exactly. My voice struggles after every home game, especially one like that. But yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I guess my 2 biggest takeaways was the play calling being subpar and the wide receivers playing better than expected. I haven't watched the All 22 film yet. I was going to today, but I was so tired after work. I only got 4 hours of sleep that I just passed right out and I didn't have time to watch it before this. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. But from what I remember watching from the game is the wide receivers played so much better than they did last year against Baltimore. I mean, game 1, we scored only 10 points. And then in the playoff game, we were able to score 27, but that was a run game, key turnovers. Josh Allen only threw for 140 yards, and we only had 1 pass completed more than 10 yards down this line of scrimmage. We just couldn't get any separation, and Josh had to kind of really dink and dunk and run the ball and super conservative. And this game, it started to look that way. And that's part of why I was annoyed with Joe Brady is you want Keon to take this jump. You went and signed Palmer. You went and signed Moore. You bolstered the receiving room in the offseason to go and play the exact same way. I thought was frustrating. That screenplay on 3rd and 6 on, I think, the 3rd drive was infuriating. The lack of play action, I was screaming for that every single play. And then the first true play action play I saw was the bootleg for a touchdown. I was like, wow, who would have thought that play action with Josh Allen works?
Right.
But my biggest gripe with Joe Brady is why we didn't run a tush push when we had the 2-point conversion go to the 1. if you're going to run a pass play, why didn't you just do it at the 2? What was the point in kicking the extra point to then get to the 1 and then call a pass play? Like, doesn't make any sense. It would have only made sense if you were running it or doing a tush push. That was infuriating because that almost cost us the game, because then we were constantly trying to make 2 points back. We ended up attempting 3 2-point conversions and failing them off. We would have just kicked the extra point. That's 3 more points there, and that changes the game a lot in a lot of ways. I mean, we won, so it doesn't matter, but it's not always going to end up that way. So that was very frustrating to see that. But yeah, the wide receivers, I thought they were, and Kincaid and the wide receivers. Kincaid was a man on a mission blocking. I remember, I think on the second drive, or was the first drive maybe, he pile drove on that screen pass. The dude 10 yards out of bounds. That was awesome to see. And the wide receivers were actually creating separation. I'm not saying they were amazing. It wasn't like it was like the Bengals wide receiving core, the Eagles wide receiving core, but last year they were one of the worst in the league. I would say they're probably average last night, which our wide receivers are so good in other areas. If they can be average as a room in terms of separation, our offense will be unstoppable. I mean, you saw Kincaid, that seam pass right over Roquan's head was awesome. I love that play from Kincaid. I think that fits him perfectly. I think a lot of those in-breakers and out-breakers and posts for Palmer and Coleman, I think, are going to be really vital to the offense. Obviously, Shakir attacking in the middle of the field. And then I guess if I'm going to go the other way, a little negative, I thought our interior offensive line and run game wasn't very good. Granted, that is a strength for Baltimore, so like I'm not too worried. They will have Justin Madubuike, one of the best D tackles in the league, and some really good run defending linebackers. So like I'll cut him some slack there, but our run game wasn't very good. We weren't able to get too much. I thought Brown and Dawkins played great, but I was a little worried about the interior offensive line. But I think as in coming weeks with worse competition, it should be able to jump back up to where it was.
Yeah, I agree. The 2-point conversion, I'll go quick because 100% agree. Very annoying that the last one was what we should be doing constantly, is the Keon Coleman one, which that was actually, I believe, in my opinion, on Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen needs to throw that higher to Keon. He's got a basketball background. You don't throw it in his numbers on a end zone fade. You throw it up high so he can jump up and get it. So that was, and they did it then, but why would you not just run the ball in that 1-yard line? I personally thought the interior offensive line did not play as bad. I think the left side had a little bit of an issue. I thought Cybo had a pretty good game overall, especially when you take into account the defensive line. There was a couple of runs that he could not hold gaps or open up gaps, but when it came to pass rush, he looked relatively decent. And I think the only big mistake he made was the bull rush when Josh Allen had to rip it to Josh Palmer in the fourth quarter, and it was over his head because bull rush came on Cybo. Josh had to get it out quicker than it was, and that's why he couldn't put the touch at Palmer in the corner end zone. So that's where I saw him pass pro. That was a little bit rough. Spencer Brown, I think, did well when he was coming, if somebody was coming from like 7-eye or 9-eye from the way outside, but he got beat a little bit times on 5-eye on some interior moves and exterior moves. But Josh Allen at that right side, if he's coming on that side, he can kind of dip in. He does that dip in and come out sort of thing. So Josh Allen handled that, knowing how Spencer Brown rolls. I really like to see that. I thought the offensive line played well because we were up against the Ravens. I do agree with you that we need to kind of calibrate with who we played, right? What I was interesting with Joe Brady's play calling is I don't know if he's revealing everything, but I think he made some risky moves to confuse tape for future references. There was a lot of things that I saw in all 22 that was very interesting. We ran 23 personnel twice. We ran 13 personnel twice. We ran 22 personnel, 21 personnel. We ran all the 20s personnel, which was absolutely kind of awesome to see. Reggie Gilliam, got 12 snaps on the offense, so he was used a lot in those 20. There was a time where we used 3 times. We used wing T offense, and it was Ray Davis and Dawson Knox. It wasn't even 2 running backs in the T offense. Dawson Knox was the other running back in that situation. So that was like, it was too exotic for Joe Brady, right? Because Joe Brady likes his motions. He likes to be exotic in trip sets, but he was very exotic. And to squeeze out a win with that kind of tape is very intriguing because now I'm thinking about how the Jets are going to handle us, how week 3, week 4 are going to go. When you're looking at that tape, which I think we're going to consistently do, like a wing T with Dawson Knox is super interesting. 12 personnel was mainly ran with Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes, not Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. That was very interesting as well. It was just a lot of stuff that were extra wrinkles that I wouldn't have thought that they would have thrown it all out in the first game, right? Like maybe Joe Brady was overthinking in the first half and using too much of that, but he kind of threw the kitchen sink when it came to personnel, and I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, I will give you credit when you talked about the offensive line. Yeah, I thought they did great in pass pro. Josh didn't seem to get pressured too much. And then Spencer Brown, I'm not too worried about when he gets beat inside because Josh Allen is
Exactly.
so deadly to his right. I'd almost rather him get beat to the inside so Josh can just scramble out to the right and make plays. Like as long as he's not getting beat to the outside, I'm not too worried. I mean, if as long as he's not getting instantly beat to the inside,
For
but
sure.
like if someone goes like a counter move back inside and it's like 2-3 seconds in, gives Allen time to scramble out, I don't care. Do
you think that's what Alex looks at and then calls him overrated?
Yeah. Yeah, if
I hope
Alex
he's
was
watching.
on, where that could have been our debate topic of the day. I was getting a little
For
heated
sure.
when I was seeing that. I'm like, because I
Same.
love Spencer Brown.
Me too.
I mean, he's an absolute mauler and just the personality. My friend actually on Saturday saw him at a gun show. He didn't like go up to him or see him or anything, but it was him and
Not surprised.
him and Jimmy Carlo. He was just like
Nice.
they were like I think like walking in and they were walking out or whatever. Or just happened to like see them. He didn't like go up and say hi or anything, but he was like telling me, he's like, yeah, I saw them too. I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. All right, I got a question for you too, as we're sticking with the offense for a little bit longer. What is your take on Ty Johnson outsnapping Ray Davis by 18 offensive snaps? It was almost as if Ty Johnson was RB2, and Ray Davis wasn't really used much of anything, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't really care that much because Ray Davis is more like James Cook's backup and Ty Johnson's like the do it all. So I think with you saying with how much Brady was doing all these exotic schemes and stuff, Ty Johnson can do so many things. He's a jack of all trades.
So is Ray,
They
though.
wanted him a lot.
So is Ray.
I mean, yeah, but Ray's not as good as like Ray's a better pure runner than Ty Johnson, but he's not as good as a receiver. He's not as good as a pass blocker. He's not as good as some of these other things. I'm not saying he's bad at them, but also in the second half when we're throwing a lot because we're losing, I'd rather have Ty Johnson. I think that's part of it is we were losing most of the game. You're going to have your third down back out there because while Ray Davis is a good pass blocker and a good receiver, Ty Johnson's an elite pass blocker, an elite receiver coming out.
For sure.
So I'd much rather have him on the field. So I'm not too worried about that. Now, if we're winning games and we're running the ball a lot and we're having a good run game and Ty Johnson's out snapping Ray, that might be a little bit more cause for concern. But I think with a game where you're losing in the second half and you're just throwing it so much, I'm not too worried.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And let's see. I mean, I agree. The wide receivers look great. I want to give a shout out to Jackson Hawes. I think Jackson Hawes played incredible. I think he was almost perfect in blocking, in my opinion. He was great in run blocking, great in pass blocking for a tight end. And then he caught that seam pass, which was absolutely incredible. And I want to give Josh Allen credit as well on that seam pass because it was cover one, two wide receivers on the left, Jackson Hawes only in line on the right. And for Josh Allen to understand who Jackson Hawes is and throw it right at his number, like Kincaid would have been a little bit higher. Keon Coleman would have been a little bit higher. I think Josh Allen is so good that he knew who Jackson Hawes was as a pass catcher because he was not. He caught 16 balls, 195 yards, 0 touchdowns in his 1 year in Georgia Tech before he transferred to Yale. So, and he had 4 catches in Yale per year sort of thing, so it wasn't much of anything. So knowing that he wasn't that good of a passer, he just slung it right to his chest and was like, here, like, take the ball sort of thing. And that was incredible to watch.
It reminds me of that throw he had to Quentin Morris against the Giants.
Yes.
where it's just like it's the third string tight end that's in there for Premier League blocking, and he just rips it into double coverage, and
Yeah.
it works.
It
And,
works.
and that one was like the same spot. It was like the 20-yard line into basically the end zone. And yeah, what
Right.
a catch by Haas. That was so clutch for him to come down with that. He juggled it 3 times and still caught it. And then I personally, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Keon Coleman. Us on the channel have been a little bit lower on him than some of the fans. Like we weren't like saying, oh, he sucks and he's gonna be a bust. And I wasn't as low on him as Alex is. Alex has been notoriously low on him, but he had a great game. 8 catches, 110 yards, drew a PI, and was just very physical. I want to see the consistency though. Like I'm gonna say great game, but before I fully like jump on board, I want to see consistency, and I want to see him do it against better corners too, because I think Jair's just washed. Like,
Yep.
best game of Coleman's career. I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but Jair Alexander, it looked washed. He was getting cooked by whoever he was guarding, and that's awesome to see because I want the Ravens to suck. That's like the one weakness on their team is Jair.
Right.
Because Nate Wiggins was good, Marlon Humphreys, an All-Pro. If just attack Jair and their backups, I'm not too scared of TJ Tampa. So
right. No, I agree. And then I agree, and I understand what you're saying because I'd also like to see a little bit of first half production. You know, when they were trying to get him moving and stuff like that, he had a drop, which that's okay. It was only one drop. Who cares? After that, he kind of excelled after that. But you know, in a tight game, we want to see him collect first downs when it's tight instead of in the third and fourth quarter, we were basically stuck in 11 personnel passing constantly in open concepts, and he was getting open. And it's not to take anything from Keon, but let's see some clutch catching in the first half, while we saw crazy clutch catching in the fourth quarter, which I loved. And then I also want to give
a big test.
Next week's a big test. Now I want to shout out Josh Palmer too. It's Josh Palmer also started cold, and you know it is week 1, first half. Bills typically start slow in week 1 sometimes, and just like the Cardinals game, we were down. So we were slow start on offense in the first, but Josh Palmer also collected that PI at the 10-yard line when he was coming around to the right, and he got that PI because he held up, knowing that the cornerback wasn't looking to collect that PI, which was great. And then that route that he had for the catch and run in the final drive was nothing that we saw in 2024. Nothing in the slightest bit. He was in the slot. He was running full speed. He sold a skinny post. And as soon as the cornerback flipped his hips, he swiped like a defensive end.
Jair.
Moved outside. And then Josh Allen put it perfect and catch and run. And that was nothing that we saw in 2024. And that's just really exciting to see somebody be able to manipulate that route at the stem and like just professional. It was incredible to see.
Yeah, I completely agree. I was very high on Palmer coming in, and if you add PI yards, because if he didn't get PI, he's catching that ball. The only reason
all day.
If you add those yards, he would have had, I think, like 92. He had like 65 yards and it was like 27-yard DPI. So I think he would have like 92 yards. And his first game, that was the first on-field connection he had with Allen, because Allen didn't play in the preseason. And yeah, he struggled a bit the beginning. The one play that was almost a pick was bad on his part. I think there was just some miscommunication and Josh was getting rushed. And so like, I mean, that wasn't a great look, but yeah, he was getting open, and that's what I care about. I just want receivers who get open. I'm hoping maybe after the Ravens game, when we're facing worse safeties, we'll start seeing some more deep down passing attack. It looked like they were scared to really attack fully down the field, like 40, 50-yard deep bombs down the field.
Great.
Because of Hamilton and Starks. Hopefully, maybe like next week's against the Jets, their safeties are not very good. The quarterbacks are good, but their safeties aren't. I would love to see a play action deep bomb to Palmer on a post. I'll say it every game until it happens, because I think that can be such a utilized part. I mean, we saw Palmer all the time do it in LA. I mean, last year he was getting open many times and just Herbert would miss him. Herbert missed him. Like almost every time I'd watch the Chargers, Herbert would miss him like a 40 or 50-yarder. And yeah, I mean, Allen's better than Herbert. I love Herbert. I mean, I've been pushing Herbert's top 5 forever, and watching that Friday night game was pretty nice. Sitting with my friends who don't believe he's top 5, and I'm just like,
watch this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move to the defense because the defense allowed 40 points. We already gave our flowers to Ed Oliver, so we don't really need to talk much about him. But there was a lot of interesting stuff. We'll talk about the biggest lie. I guess we can start with this. Let's start with this. The biggest liability in your head: Daquan Jones or Taylor Rapp?
100%. Daquan Jones.
Daquan Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I gave him a nickname for how much I hate him that I'm going to keep PG. I think I texted in our chat.
Yeah.
Instead of Daquan, I have a different first name for him because he sucks. He's terrible. He's washed. I mean, it sucks. I feel bad because he was so good prior to that pec injury, but post pec
Yeah.
injury, he has done nothing. And it got to the point where I was getting so mad that I was literally watching him every play, just hoping I could find something. And it was just he was getting pushed. It wasn't even on just double teams. He would be getting single team push 3 to 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and then Derrick Henry would run right by. And
Yeah.
it's like Ed Oliver played a game of his life, but Ed Oliver's not like an elite run defender. He makes splash plays in the run game, and then he's a great pass rusher, and that's what we need him for. He's not going to be taking on doubles. He's not going to be consistently stout there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what he does. He'll make splash plays and be a great pass rusher, and that's perfect. We need the one tech is the guy who can. I would be fine if our one tech had 0 sacks in the year. I want him to be able to take on double teams and stop the run. That's all I care about because I trust our defensive ends. I trust Ed Oliver to be able to get after the passer. That's all I want. That's why I wanted Alfred Collins so badly last year. But it just sucks. McDermott does not value that at all. He wants smaller guys who can penetrate. And I don't understand how after this point, after years and years of us struggling to defend the run against elite running offenses, that he thinks that's the answer. But I mean, what can I do about it? I guess I can sit here and complain, and that's really about it.
I know. I agree. I mean, I'm actually gonna flip it, but I'll talk about I mean, I basically found one play from Daquan Jones where he actually manipulated his gap into the open gap for the run game and actually had a defensive stop, and that was pretty much the only thing I saw in the all 22, to be honest with you. But what very much surprised me is that we only run 4 defensive tackles, so we only had T.J. Sanders, Ed Oliver, Deion Dawkins, and Daquan Jones, Daquan Jones and Deion Walker on there, which was confusing because then Deion Walker only played 25% of the snaps. So basically they put, as Daquan was getting bad, they didn't really even flip the script to at least give Deion Walker to see what he can do in there and maybe flip it to 35, 65, give him some more snaps, but 25% was low for Deion Walker. I know he's a rookie. He looked good in the preseason. I would have liked to see Daquan maybe take a seat on some of the snaps and see what Deion Walker can do. But with that being said, as you mentioned, is that they don't run the one techs, and Deion Walker is such a big guy that we think that he can play one tech. But there were plays where he was again doing the same thing, but he was penetrating too quickly. There was a play where Deion Dawkins and Deion Walker. I'm not going to do it again. Deion Walker and T.J. Sanders, both rookies in the middle, and on the rushing touchdown for Derrick Henry to the right side, is they both didn't keep their gaps, rushed to the quarterback, and that's what opened up Derrick Henry's touchdown, was no interior gap integrity at all. So that's what I kind of saw, and I'm curious if that's where Bobby Babich and Sean McDermott's issue was that they really needed experience to know where to keep your gap integrity. The issue is that Daquan was not doing it at all either, so it was basically nothing. Matt Milano was setting the edge a lot when we were doing 4-3 base. Matt Milano was on the right side to kind of stop the outside runs, and I think that might have been an issue with our run defenses. They were adjusting to that because Matt Milano really tries to stay clean on the second level and then come down and hit, but he was on the line of scrimmage a lot, trying to at least set an edge.
Yeah, and they were doing that a lot with Dorian too. Yeah. So the next, I guess, really outside of Ed Oliver, I don't think anyone. I like if I had to give grades, I'd go Ed Oliver A+. The defense besides him F. Maybe D-, and then just Daquan Jones F. Or Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp had a pretty.
Taylor Rapp
game.
gets an F. Yeah, let's talk about Taylor Rapp here because obviously with Daquan had it, but Taylor Rapp was our PFF worst graded for starters. I know grades are bad, but he was the worst graded on defense. He looked 1,000 out there, which was not fun. That Derrick Henry run showed his slow speed. I cannot believe he even got close. He took bad angles. He had missed tackles. his free safety, he was playing 10 to 15 yards too far back, and then not even trying to get into the inside, into the intermediate if he had to help with the run. He was basically playing far back so that nobody got a 70-yard reception touchdown. And then even if he was far back there, just like the DeAndre Hopkins catch, even though that was an incredible catch, and that's not on that one's not on Benford or Rapp, he still could have got there, and he was still slow to it. And it's like, basically, at least Daquan was like a bigger body on the front line, so even if he accidentally got rolled into a gap, that's fine. But Taylor Rapp was more of a ghost to me. He was basically not. We were playing with 10 men on the field the whole entire time, and that's how I felt Rapp's game was. And I don't think we should roll him out. I don't think he's got it. I think we should try anyone else. I don't even know about Hamlin. I mean, do you think Hancock and Bishop would even be a better duo?
I maybe. I'm just surprised because I thought Rapp was pretty good last year. I thought he was.
He was.
I thought he played
agree.
really good. So I just don't want to overreact like that after one game. The reason I'm doing that like Daquan is because he was bad last year also. So it's just a continuous. Rapp I thought was good last year. So him having one really bad game, I'm willing to give him a little more leeway. Now, if this continues by week 4, week 5, I agree. Because I think the issue is that Rapp and Bishop are like the same safety. They're both box safeties who struggle a little bit in coverage. Bishop's a little bit more athletic. Rapp's a little bit more, I guess, physical. He's a little bit, I think right now knows the system better, but I think they're kind of like similar. They both struggle a little bit in coverage, and they just want to keep Bishop down in the box because I think they were more afraid of Bishop getting beat over top than Rapp would be my guess. I'm not exactly sure. I just think that that's kind of the issue that probably has to get addressed in the offseason. It's like either one of them goes to strong safety and you got to get a free safety. I would assume they'd probably go Bishop, and then Rapp to be that third safety would be nice, but I don't think you put DeMar in there. I don't either. Bad. I think DeMar would have played the same or find a way to play worse.
I think you try. I think you try Hancock. Honestly, but we've seen Taylor Rapp make free safety plays. We've seen him do plays in the backfield. Yeah. He's the veteran, and having that veteran next to Cole Bishop when he's playing that poorly, I think almost makes Cole Bishop worse, which then kind of rolls into it. So I think we should replace and kind of not look back, in my opinion. I understand your opinion. I definitely get it. But it is tough because even you could almost see Christian Benford a little stressed out trying to catch up because we had Taylor Rapp in the back and then a rookie in Dorian Strong. Dorian Strong played great for his rookie. So this is not on Dorian Strong. It's just what he had to do and understand and lead while trying to get covered. And what they saw, Christian Benford had his injury, and I think he did lose a half a step until I don't think he might have been 95%, and I think he lost a small step in there because you could see he was a step behind in his trail technique, and that's what led to 5 catches on 6 targets, which is so uncharacteristic of Christian Benford. But the Ravens noticed that and exploited it because Dorian Strong only had about 2 or 3 targets. But with that being said, I mean, we still kind of pulled out the dope and things like that. And Dog26 is asking, should we pick up a safety? And Miley, what is your thoughts on that?
1, we don't have the money right now. 2, if it's up to me, I'd rather create money to go and get Christian Wilkins because I think that's a bigger need. I get his issues, the weird stuff he likes to do and his beef with Josh Allen. But I think if Josh Allen watched that game on Sunday and truly wants to win a Super Bowl, I think he can ignore that beef for Daquan to get replaced. So personally, if it's up to me, I would do that. And I know Christian Wilkins isn't ready to play now, but he should be ready to play by the playoffs. And that's really what I care about is having someone better than Daquan for the next time we play the Ravens, because there's a pretty decent shot we run into them in the playoffs at some point. But the reason I probably wouldn't go and get a safety in the market is because Jabril's probably the only guy, and he's kind of also a box safety also. And it's not really fixing the issue that we need a free safety. I mean, maybe he might be a little bit better than Rapp, but I just don't think it's worth it to shuffle it up for just having another box safety.
Yeah, I get that point. It would be a little bit of risk. I like your point. I was actually leaning towards Dog26. I think we should do something when it comes down to those because you can clearly tell that those are our weaknesses. Just like Jair Alexander was for the Ravens, it was, and what good teams do is exploit it, and it was clear as day that they noticed where our weaknesses were.
Mhm. No, I completely agree.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, Dorian Strong, shout out to Dorian Strong. Great job as a rookie. We're excited.
Yeah.
What I'm excited about as well, kind of watching that the defensive backs, because Dorian Strong played great and things along those lines. But I really do think that once we're out of 4 weeks and Maxwell Harrison is on the other side of Christian Benford, I think that opens up our DB skill set and scheme a lot better, and we're going to be able to be a lot more versatile in what we can run once Max Harrison comes back.
Because Maxwell, you line him up against the super quick, fast guy. Like when we'd play Baltimore, you'd put him on Zay Flowers a lot, unless Zay's in the slot, and then you put Benford on D Hop or Bateman, and I think that works a lot of it better. One thing I want to I want to say though about Benford is while he struggled in coverage, he was elite in the run. I think I saw him open field tackle Derrick Henry 3 times,
Yeah.
which is insane. A cornerback tackling it. I think one of them he had help, and the other 2 was literally him tackling. I'm like, okay, sick. Like I already knew Benford was an elite run defender for a corner, but like watching that was pretty cool. So I want to give him his flowers there.
Great point. That is a great point because that was very impressive to see. He kind of kept his, even on outside runs too, kept his clean jersey clean and even shed once for that tackle. So
Yeah.
that was impressive to see. I did love that. Great call. All right. Well, regardless, on an overview of that game, thank you 122 people for watching at the moment. But an overview of that game is Josh Allen is a magician, and we pulled out finally a win when we made the comeback and we were not the ones on the other side. So I do love that. Next week,
Baltimore themselves.
Baltimore themselves. Yep. John Harbaugh overrode Sean McDermott.
No, and then it was funny. In the post-game presser, Lamar said that the reason he didn't push harder to go for it on 4th down is because he had cramps. I didn't realize it on 3rd down. His cramps were probably just Ed Oliver laid him out. Right before the show, I watched the video. He leveled him. I'm like, this is awesome. But
Man,
that's the difference. That's the difference between Lamar and Josh. Josh could have had a torn ACL, and he's like, give me that ball. Hey, he could have had a torn Achilles. He could have not been able to move, and he would have fought to get out there.
That's why Josh stays a little chunky. As he said, that extra weight avoids the injury. He's got it down to a science.
Exactly. That dad bod for life. I gotta have to agree with him on that one.
Yeah. If Josh Allen's got it, then everybody can. That's right.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
that's why I have the dad body. It's totally for that reason.
Josh
So when
Allen,
I tell my friends, no, you gotta have a little bit of chunk to save yourself from injury. It's protection. You gotta protect the goods.
In our adult intramural sports.
Yeah. I go play pickup football in my backyard.
Yeah. All right. We got through week 1, which is great. And as we have looked, and what Steve is mentioning is defense was a work in progress. You're right. And then we should win our next 6 games. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about next week before we let you guys go. We got the New York Jets. And what me and Miley had the same thought process is right now the New York Jets are a little bit of a Temu version of the Baltimore Ravens.
Walmart Ravens. That's what I was saying. Like right after
can't
the game.
say Walmart in
like,
Arkansas.
Oh, really?
Well, we're in like Walmart headquarters, so it's Walmart's a cult here. We love Walmart. There's neighborhood markets like a mile away from us everywhere, so we don't talk bad about Walmart here. Yeah, but anyways, yes, you're right. But go ahead, Temu Ravens. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, that's basically what it is. They have a worse mobile quarterback. As a runner, I would say Justin Fields and Lamar are about similar, but Lamar's a much better passer, so we have to worry about in that aspect. And then Breece Hall's a decent runner. Braylon Allen's a decent runner, but they don't sniff when the talent of Derrick Henry. They're not nearly as good. And then their offensive line, while it has some decent pieces, and Fashanu, having no Vera Tucker really hurts that O-line. So I think that our run defense probably won't be great next week, but I think it should be a lot better. And then I think the receiving weapons, I think Baltimore's better receiving weapons. Like the Jets have Garrett Wilson, but I think we should just go if Trey White or Strong, put them over and then put a safety over top, or Benford and a safety over top. And then I don't feel worried about the rest of the receiving core because who is it? El Lazard and
I think he was inactive last game. It's
Adrian Smith.
yeah.
I
Tight ends.
I I, I
Mason
have to
Taylor.
remind when I talk about the Jets receivers outside of Garrett Wilson, I have to look up their depth chart usually because it's terrible. And then their tight
Yeah.
ends, Mason Taylor and Jeremy Rucker, also not very good. And then
Right.
defensively, they also kind of run similar schemes.
I know,
They
right?
have
It's wild.
elite defensive tackle, and then kind of a couple playmakers around it that you hope can get some pressure. Linebackers who are great against the run that struggle in coverage, and then
Yep.
corners who love to run man press. Really, the difference is their safeties suck, and
Right.
Baltimore's have elite safeties, but their corners are better. So that's kind of the pass off. I think their defense a little bit worse. I mean, we just watched Aaron Rodgers go for 220 and 4 touchdowns on them. So
Yeah.
that does give me some cause for hope that if Rodgers can do that, Josh Allen should be fine. But in New York, it's historically been a trap game for us coming off an emotional win against Baltimore. It's a game we should win, and I do think we win. But that's a game that McDermott better be hammering this week. Don't look it over. This is a game that we need to win this and really start our season off right, get the momentum going, coming off that big win against Baltimore. We're I know it's early, but we're kind of in the driver's seat towards the 1 seed right now. KC just lost the Chargers. We just beat Baltimore and have the head-to-head. We play KC later in the year, and it's obviously going to be us 3 most likely for the 1 seed. So, having that upper hand right now, we have to keep the foot on the gas. We realistically, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but if we want to get that 1 seed, we have to start out 7-0, 8-0, 9-0. We really can't stumble up these next couple of weeks, and it starts with this Jets game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And the good thing the way that we came back and the amount of people like Joey Bosa during the presser was like, I have been on the losing side of all these. These are the first on my winning side. And I mentioned it yesterday. I put a tweet out, which I think is like something to be noted of because we drafted all rookie defense, right? We have so many rookies in Jackson Hawes. We have so many veterans in Joey Bosa that came out and everything along those lines. And the ability to make that comeback kind of gives you that spark where now all these new folks are like, well, we're not out of any game. And that mentality is going to carry itself for 17 weeks. So I think I think that excitement for the new people that are in Buffalo won't give us that hangover because then they'll just be excited to keep it going and keep it going. And I think our veterans like Joey Bosa will push us to not get in that hangover. But I agree. I mean, I think
Joey Bosa plays better.
I think he played great, to be honest with you. I think there was some issues. What I love about playing the Jets with Justin Fields being a similar skill set to Lamar Jackson is that he got burned it was 3-1 on RPOs with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson won 3 of them, while Joey Bosa got him on 1.
And then also that sack that he basically took him and Rousseau out of. That was kind of annoying. He rushed the passer well, but then diving at Lamar's legs right in front of Rousseau was definitely an interesting choice. I don't understand why they could have literally, with how athletic especially with how athletic Rousseau is, you just keep pressuring him back. He's going to have to let him dictate which way he wants to go. And Bosa should have just kept sitting contained going towards the sideline. If Lamar steps up, Rousseau's right there. But outside of those bad plays, I thought he was decently consistent. AJ Epinesa was bad, but that's just he was terrible and contained. Can't wait for Michael Hoyt to be back. But sorry, that was a little tangent I wanted to go on.
No, I hear you. I think Joey Bosa looked better than what we saw in Von Miller last year, and that's kind of what I like to see, sort of thing. And Joey Bosa talked about it in the presser. He was like he knew it. He was like, I looked at this tape and I knew exactly what to do in this position. He was like, we know that he goes left and then he tries to dip it. He goes, I made one wrong step and Lamar Jackson made me pay for it. And that's what I loved about Joey is he knew exactly minute details and remembered minute details 30 minutes after the game ended, talking about what he missed there. So you know that he's looking at Justin Fields' tape and what Justin Fields did because Justin Fields was slippery week 1. He got out of some stuff like Lamar Jackson-esque. So that was so Joey Bosa talking about that was such a good veteran presence, and I think he makes a kickback on that.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it, and I definitely agree. I'm excited for week 7 when Hoyt comes back. I wonder what they really do there. One interesting thing that reminds me of is that Landon Jackson was inactive over Javon Solomon, and then at the game, I don't know if there was like some disciplinary reason or maybe Jackson was upset. He sat in a chair by himself, like excluded from the entire team, like he was in timeout. It was so weird.
Really?
There was like this chair next to the kicking net, and he sat there the entire game. I
Wow.
don't understand it. Yeah, I don't know if there was some sort of disciplinary they didn't talk about, but I noticed that. And I'm like, maybe he's just bummed out he's inactive. But
Yeah.
even then, you would think he would be with the team cheering him on, but he's just sitting there next to the kicking net in a chair with his helmet
Yeah.
off.
That is very interesting. Great
Yeah.
plug on that. I tried to watch most of McDermott's presser, and I don't think they got a question about Landon Jackson. So I'm very curious about that, and I hope
Yeah,
we kind of
I
hear
have
that.
no idea. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I was just like, this is so weird. Why is he sitting here by himself? Like it
Right.
literally looked like he was in timeout.
Yeah, you got a rookie, you're a rookie, and a sophomore edge rusher took your spot for game one of week one of the week. Like, you should be with your team, cheering them on every step of the way, and even like talking to Javon Solomon about what he's doing and stuff like that. So that is crazy. That's honestly kind of mind blowing to me right now. So I'd like to follow that up with that. But yeah, so let's see if we can hear that through the week. I mean, yeah, I agree. The one thing I am afraid about the Jets is they also ran wing T offense, which was crazy to see as well, because they have Braylon Allen and Brees Hall. Is they were super lethal in the screen game, and you know how we are in the screen game and defending the screen.
Especially against Brees Hall. We've seen him cook us in it.
There was at least 5 explosive screen passes that they went throughout the game. So they will use that. They're going to use wing T offense. They're going to run screen passes because they know we're deadly on it. And then really, yeah, where's Will McDonald?
Yeah.
Who's got him? Spencer Brown or Deion Dawkins? Who's handling Will McDonald? He had 2 sacks in that game. Had a great game.
I'm
But
not as worried though because the Steelers tackles suck.
for sure, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Should be easy. Steelers didn't test the Jets safeties at all, to be honest. Really, there was 2 red zone touchdowns where they were on the outside passes, but they didn't really trust they didn't test the safeties. So I'm expecting, I think, some fireworks when it comes to Josh Allen.
Yeah, me too. And then with the screenplay, I will give it some slack. I want to see how it looks with Milano and Bernard in the field. When we were getting
Fair.
cooked in the preseason, that was with Dorian Williams and Joe Andreessen. I would like to see how they perform when it's Milano and Bernard. I mean, I guess Milano was game one, but Bernard wasn't. I'd like to see them together and see how they. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to be great against screens. I think it's just something we're going to always struggle with. But if maybe Rapp and Bishop play a little bit better, and then them 2 together, that's usually what screens come down to is safeties and linebackers, how they react and that's kind of been a weakness for us, like, which is weird because safeties and linebackers usually a strength for us, but against screens they suck. I don't get it.
And then we never do them. So we just like screens we don't even know in West
Well,
New York.
running back screens. You're right. Running back screens we don't.
Yeah,
wide receiver screens on third and long we love though. We love or tight end screens. No, it was tight end.
Yeah.
It was a
Tight end.
It was to
Tight end,
Kincaid.
yeah.
It was tight end screens.
Right.
It was kind of funny though. Me and my friends were like joking about it. Like in the game, we're like, oh, here comes the screen. Oh, he hasn't run a screenplay in a couple of plays. You know he's itching for one.
Right. Yeah. Good point. All right. Well, yeah, we're 50 minutes in. Let's see. I guess since we could still talk about the game because it was incredible yesterday. Anything insane you saw for week one? Obviously, this is the final year in the Ralph or Highmark, whatever you want to call it. But people must have been getting crazy. Anything, not maybe R-rated, but anything crazy? Tailgating. How were the fans other than leaving? I know you didn't leave.
Yeah, I don't know. The tailgating for us was like we have our own little setup. We have a Bills bus, and then we have this own spot we've been parking at for a couple of years. And this like back corner parking lot, there's like a little extra like spot our bus fits in perfectly. And then my dad's brother, and then like he's got some friends, and their whole setup. There's like 4 tents we have, and just mountains of food. My stomach was hurting, and we did seafood boil, ribs, steak, burgers. There's people that made like pizza logs and mozzarella sticks. There was mac and cheese, chicken, everything. Oh my God. And then for Bills games, you're allowed to bring clear bags of food in. And so we've been doing it for a couple years.
Spaghetti.
We literally brought in crab legs and corn on the cob. And everyone behind us knows we bring in the clear bags of food. And normally it's like burgers, hot dogs, chicken wings, chips, cookies, stuff like that. and they see us pull out the crab legs and they
Hey,
point on the
we
counter.
won,
they're
baby.
Like, they're like, what the heck? What are you guys doing with crab legs?
Okay, so you are the people that people are talking about, which is perfect.
Well,
That's what you got to
there's
do. Yeah.
also this dude that's like 2 or 3 rows ahead of us, like a couple seats over. He has some really funny R-rated sayings I'm not going to say on here. And he just goes the entire game, and it's just everyone around just jumps in, and we laugh about it. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I heard there was a bottle problem. Is that true? People tossing water bottles
And that might have been in the 100s.
in the
Oh,
100s?
another quick thing. They had a drone show, and of course they couldn't even get that right. They
Yeah,
put it where half the stadium couldn't see it. We literally had to look at the jumbotron to see it because it was blocked by the stadium itself where we were trying
that's
to look
wild.
at it. I could see I'm like, you couldn't have just moved it up more or moved it
Right.
to the side. I don't understand why they put it right there where half the stadium couldn't see it.
Yeah, and last year the drone show got canceled due to weather, so maybe it
Yeah.
wasn't weather. They're just bad at drone shows.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when I was watching it on the jumbotron, it was pretty sick. I admit it was pretty.
It
cool.
did look sick.
But
I saw some videos. Yeah.
but the fact that I couldn't see it with my own eyes, I had to look at the jumbotron. It's just
Right. Basically a YouTube video.
yeah.
All right. Any closing remarks? I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
I love Josh Allen and Go Bills.
That's what I'm talking about. For all the people watching, we appreciate you for joining us on Monday. We will be back next Monday with the full crew. Alex will be back in the seat, so we'll have us trio. Hopefully, we'll be 2-0. Thank you to all the people watching. If you can please like and subscribe to us, that is how the little guys get through. We appreciate you all for coming and watching, and we'll see you next Monday. Thank you so much.